Alright, what's going on everybody? So in today's video, I'm going to be going over how to make six figures per year in real estate investing. It's something I've been doing for the last several years. So in this video, I'm going to cover basically 5 core strategies, things you can implement, and what you need to know about how to make six figures per year as a real estate investor. And before we get into this video, please smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And that being said, let's jump into it. Principle number 1 is something that's called the law of 100. So I think Grant Cardone and some of these other guys might talk about it, but it's basically the concept that you need to look at 100 properties before purchasing one. And in my business, I'd say it's probably closer to like 25 or maybe 50 at most. But the general idea is that you need to look at a lot of properties and be very strict and specific with the type of deals that you're looking for. You need to be very picky. It's very easy in real estate investing to just see some fixer-upper house or see some off-market deal and just think that because it's a fixer-upper or because it's off-market, it must be a good deal. When in fact, you really need to evaluate and underwrite all of your deals and be very particular about the ones that you buy. What I would recommend for purchasing rehab properties is to use the Mao Formula. So that'll just keep you on the safe side of things. If you're in a really high price range, like let's say over 500,000 or so, you can kind of be a little bit more aggressive and go over this formula a little bit. But overall, you should try to stick to it. And it states that the after renovated value, so let's say that's 500,000, times 0.7 minus the cost of repairs is the most that you should pay for a property. So if you stick to that formula, you probably will have to look at about 25, 50, maybe even 100 different properties to find properties that meet that criteria. However, when you do find properties that meet that criteria, chances are it's an amazing deal and you can make a very large profit. So be sure to underwrite every deal kind of through that formula. And if the property doesn't need a ton of work, maybe there's not a lot of risk, maybe it's just like a little condo, you can kind of go over that amount. But just be careful and try to stay right around that 70% formula. And additionally, the way that you get all these leads to evaluate in the first place, I'd recommend like 3 different strategies. However, what you need to do with each strategies is take them to an extreme level. And what I mean by that is this. So with direct mail, for example, I do a lot of direct mail. Most people say direct mail doesn't work. Most people send out 100 letters maybe one time and then they say, I didn't get any phone calls, direct mail doesn't work. What you need to do is send out like thousands of letters. I try to send out a minimum of 5,000 postcards every single month. And when you send out 5,000 postcards every single month, I can guarantee you direct mail works. You will get a lot of phone calls. You get a lot of people saying take me off your list, but you also get a lot of really great off-market deals. And that's how I'm able to evaluate 25, 50 off-market leads every single month, and then usually find 1 or 2 that turn out to be great deals. And 2 other strategies I would recommend where you can really scale it up if you want to, because some people don't like direct mail, maybe they don't want to do it, it's not their thing, which is fine. There's literally a million different ways to get great deals. The next strategy I would recommend would be working with wholesalers. So the same way with direct mail where you don't want to just send out 100 letters, working with wholesalers, you don't want to work with just one wholesaler. Even if you find a great wholesaler, it's still just one wholesaler. You should try to build up a team of wholesalers that can send you deals like every single day, every single week, every single month on a consistent basis. And the way you build up a team of wholesalers, there's really a couple ways. You can go on LinkedIn, number 1, just type in wholesaler and then go to your city, and should be a list of like 100 different wholesalers, and you can reach out to them and start adding them to your buyers list or getting on their buyers list. And then you can also do networking events. Go to Meetup, go to RIA groups. You should easily be able to add another 10, 20, 30 wholesalers to your list. And then lastly, just look for bandit signs in your city. Anytime you see a We Buy Houses sign, just write that phone number down. Chances are it's a wholesaler. And between those 3 different strategies, you should have a whole team of wholesalers, maybe 25, 50, maybe even 100 wholesalers that can start sending you deals. Because with wholesalers, it's the same way with direct mail leads. You need to look at 50 different wholesaler leads before finding a good deal. And a third strategy for finding deals would just be the MLS. So you can set up searches such as like as is, investor special, estate sales, pre-foreclosure, different things like that, different keywords around MLS searches, where you also still have to look at like 50 or 100 properties before you find like some inefficiencies and some motivated sellers, and maybe a property that's been sitting on the market for a long time. You call the agent, they say, yep, seller's very flexible, let's just get this done. So even with MLS properties that are as is, fixer uppers, investor specials, you still need to look at 25 or 50 of those before finding one really good one. Principle number 2 to making 6 figures per year in real estate investing is this. You need to be open to multiple streams of income. Too many real estate agents, real estate investors, different people, they might just be set on their one source of income. When in reality, as a real estate investor, you should be open to doing rehabs, wholesales, joint ventures. Maybe you can purchase an Airbnb type of property or a rental property. Maybe you can do mentorship or coaching. And maybe you're completely against mentorship or coaching. I know a lot of people are. But if you start talking about real estate investing or real estate, people will just approach you and say, hey, what are you doing? How are you doing this? And you can say, yeah, I'll teach you what I'm doing. It's, $500 a month, or, you can work out different fees and things like that. Or maybe you just do it for free and you just mentor new real estate investors on how to do their first deal, and then you split the profits 50-50. But overall, you should have countless different streams of income. You should start building rental portfolios, look into Airbnb, maybe look into the education side of things, do some wholesaling. If a deal doesn't meet your criteria, but other investors, maybe wholesale it out to them. Or maybe you find a great rehab and you want to purchase it and just fix it up. Or maybe you come across multifamily condo conversions, but you don't really know what you're doing. So you can wholesale that, or maybe even joint venture that with a more experienced investor. So try not to box yourself into just one thing. There's a lot of agents and investors, they might be 5, 10, 20 years in the business and they're still doing the exact same thing. Their business looks exactly the same. They've never really thought outside of the box, so to speak, of different income streams and adding more income to their business. Principle number 3 is to surround yourself with more experienced real estate mentors or get into some type of coaching program. So myself personally, I've been in numerous coaching programs and I can guarantee you they help. Because these coaching programs, what you'll find is oftentimes the person leading the program is a very experienced real estate investor. So you can just pick up things from them. But not only that, the people in the program, there might be a lot of beginners, but there's also going to be people in there that are just completely crushing it, on a level that you're not even aware of. And you can learn a lot from those people as well. So I've heard people say that coaching programs and masterminds and things like that, it's kind of like an insurance plan for real estate investors. So by being in one of these, you stay atop of the latest trends, the latest strategies, you do networking, you maybe can raise money, find joint venture partners, meet some new friends, hang out, go to cool places. There's a lot of good reasons to be in a coaching program. They also give you structure as to how to get started. Like if you're a brand new real estate investor, you might not know how to get started. So a coaching program will kind of give you the foundations of just how to do this business. And then once you learn the foundations, you can kind of take it from there and adapt it to your own market, your own skill set, your own interests, everything like that. But keep in mind, there's a million ways to do deals, but you really need to learn the fundamentals first. Principle number 4 is to keep your expenses down and to keep reinvesting any money that you make into furthering your education, into more marketing, maybe into an acquisitions person, different things like that. It can be very tempting. Some people, their first couple deals in real estate, they might hit it completely out of the park and make $100,000 on their first deal. It's not typical, but I've seen it happen numerous times. And when you get a check for $100,000, it can be very tempting just to spend it all on get a brand new car, even get a brand new apartment, whatever it may be, and just completely blow through that money. But I would say, keep your cheap apartment and reinvest that into more marketing, more lead generation. Reinvest that into mentors. Reinvest that into programs that can get you to the next level. Because real estate investing, it's kind of one of those businesses where you can get paid a ton, 1 month, and then the next month you might not make any money. Once you build consistency, you can get there. But until you're at that point, I would just try to keep your expenses as low as possible. You should always celebrate any big deal that you do, but keep your expenses as low as possible and just reinvest that money into scaling up your marketing budget to $5,000, $10,000 per month, or joining different programs where there's more experienced investors. You can learn from them, basically copy what they do, and then implement it in your own market. Principle number 5 that I've learned is that you need to have multiple sources of funding. So over the last several years, I've gotten very creative with the types of funding I have. I have personal lines of credit. I have 10 credit cards. I have business lines of credit. I have friends and family that are willing to invest. I have hard money lenders. I have conventional loans if I need that. You need to really think outside the box and try to talk to anyone that's interested about real estate investing, and maybe they'd be interested in potentially lending money down the road. Now, I would first start with hard money lenders, and I would try to meet as many different hard money lenders as possible. Because what you'll find with hard money lenders, some will have a high rate, some will have a pretty low interest rate, and I think to find the best hard money lenders, to find the cheapest and usually most flexible hard money lenders, is to find real estate investing professionals who have thought about doing hard money lending, but maybe don't have an official hard money lending company set up. However, they still might have, several $100,000 or potentially even $1 million that they say, look, I'm trying to do some hard money loans. If you come across any good deals, we could try that out. Whereas a more established hard money company, they might have stricter criteria. They might have a higher fee because they have overhead and employees and things like that. So maybe try to find more of the local people, and you can just ask real estate investors, mortgage professionals, different people like that. You can say, hey, would you ever be interested in doing a hard money loan on any of my deals? I come across off-market properties that are undervalued, and we could both make money here. I think it's a win-win. In addition to hard money lenders, you should also explore personal lines of credit as well as business lines of credit. So that's something you're gonna have to talk to your local banks about. But in general, you should always start relationships with your local banks. Go to your Wells Fargo, or maybe even a more local bank than that. Try to, start like 3 or 4, even 5 different banking relationships, because what'll happen is once you've been a customer for a little bit and you pay your bills, theoretically you should pay your bills, they're gonna start to offer you different products and say, hey, what do you do? How can we help you? How can we make, this experience with our bank better for you? And you can say, well, by the way, I've been, looking for a personal line of credit of $50,000. And personal lines of credit are essentially used like cash. So you can basically just draw it when you need it, and you don't have to pay any interest on it until you actually use it. And the same with business lines of credit. You can talk to your local business banker about the different options they have. And I would say this as well. You always want to build out your credit, build out your resources, talk to as many lenders and real estate professionals as possible before you need it. The worst thing that can happen is you have some great deal, but you don't have any financing lined up. And if you do have a great deal and you don't have financing lined up, definitely drop a comment or contact me, and I can help you out. But you want to build these out before you need it. So when you're just looking for deals, that's when you should start reaching out to people and build up a list. Maybe you can build up an Excel spreadsheet of different lenders and different potential financing options, and reach out to your local bank. Put a few $1,000s and open new bank accounts and start new relationships with these different vendors. Okay, so lastly, to wrap this video up, making 6 figures as a real estate investor is not a complicated thing. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's also not complicated. And there's a Jim Rohn quote where he talks about you don't need like exotic answers to different questions. You need to keep things simple. So for example, what I do, the way I make 6 figures per year as a real estate investor is this. I send out somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 postcards to motivated sellers every single month. And I get somewhere between 50 and 100 leads every single month of off-market sellers. And when you have that amount of leads coming in, you're going to find great properties. You're going to find good deals. So I'm not necessarily doing tons of crazy stuff. I just contact 5,000 people every single month. And you don't need to do that to make 6 figures per year as a real estate investor. You can network with wholesalers, you can find MLS deals. That's just my strategy. But you don't need to be doing 20 different things necessarily. I mean, my daily schedule, my weekly schedule is this. I'll send out my mailers, I'll do some YouTube videos, I'll produce some content, which I typically publish on Amazon or my website, and then I'll just evaluate deals the rest of the time. That's pretty much all I do. I'm not doing these crazy exotic answers like Jim Rohn talks about. I keep it pretty simple. I do like 3 main things that produce results. So if I were you, I would find one marketing strategy. Maybe it's direct mail, maybe it's working with wholesalers, maybe it's just looking at the MLS, and I would do that to the maximum amount possible and really be sure that you're looking at a ton of leads every single month. And then not only that, but I'd also do a lot of networking. And then a third thing, maybe you can produce content like this. Maybe you can talk about your experiences as a real estate investor. But I would just keep it very simple. You don't need to do crazy different things to be successful in real estate. All right, so thanks for watching this video. And if you made it this far, I'm assuming you're pretty serious about real estate investing and becoming a real estate investor. So I actually put together an online training program on how to make 6 figures per year as a real estate investor. The link is below on my website, so you can check that out and find out some more information and see if it's something you'd be interested in. And thanks again for watching. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. All right, bye.